Iconic watches are becoming harder to buy and more expensive than ever. But something interesting has been happening at the same time. Some incredible alternatives have been flying quietly under the radar. And in many cases, they're offering a similar design language or better specs at a fraction of the price. Today, we're looking at underrated alternatives to watches like the Nautilus, GMT Master, Daytona, and more, across several different price points. Each watch is from a different brand too, so I guarantee there's at least one you've never heard of before. Let's jump in. First up is one of the most hyped watches ever made, the Patek Phillipe Nautilus. Because of that hype, the Nautilus has skyrocketed in price in recent years, even beyond its nearly six-figure retail. Its Genta design cues include the iconic pseudo-rectangular case with wing sides, unique dial texture and color, integrated bracelet style, and its exceptionally low thickness. Since the Nautilus sits at such an extreme price point, even the entry-level alternatives start fairly high. There are so many options for integrated bracelet watches at this price point, but my pick is the Mito Multifort TV Big Date. Sporting the brand's distinctive Big Date at 12 o'clock, the watch manages to maintain an aesthetic with individuality while still being fairly comparable in design to the Nautilus. The rectangular case with directional brushing on the bezel, horizontally textured fume dial, and bracelet center links make this a strong alternative to the Nautilus at a far more attainable price. Moving up just a little in price, the main Manhattan 37, especially the ultra-thin variation, checks nearly every box for a great Nautilus replacement under $2,000. A distinct rectangular case shape with extruded sides and an integrated bracelet, all not too dissimilar from the Nautilus. The dial texture is unique and it comes in several colors. The manual La Joux movement is finished well for the price and allows the watch to be even thinner than the Nautilus with a better water resistance and power reserve to boot. You're certainly getting a lot of value for your money here. For my high-end pick, I went with the Chopard Alpine Eagle. Born out of the same era as the Nautilus and Royal Oak, the Alpine Eagle is remarkably similar in several aspects to these iconic designs. Most notably, this design has case-side fins just as the Nautilus does, with a beautiful textured dial. The finishing on the case and bracelet on these is exquisite, and rivals that of the Nautilus as well. The bracelet links are probably the most similar among the options I chose, and of course, this watch is quite thin too. This is actually one that I've been considering for my own collection, if I could manage to find one for a good price on the secondary market. Next up is a watch with one of the most recognizable colorways in the entire industry, the Rolex GMT Master 2. The two-tone 24-hour GMT bezel has become the standard which all other bezel GMTs are compared to these days, and for good reason. Throughout the years, a significant amount of colorways have been released for these too, giving way to the model nicknames Rolex has become partially known for. These also have some of the best bracelets in the industry, with great micro-adjust and the option between the classic Oyster or Jubilee. Holt is likely to be a brand you've never heard of before today. And despite their rather hideous brand name, their aquatic GMT line is quite the enticing option in the budget sector for GMT Master alternatives. The aquatic GMT has a two-tone 24-hour rotating bezel, GMT complication, vintage-inspired sizing, and even a bracelet with 5 micro-adjust positions, all for around $600. The Miyota movement even has a bit of Geneva striping that is quite nice for the price bracket. The design certainly isn't the most original, but I believe it differentiates itself enough not to fall into the homage category. For how much you're paying, you're getting a lot of features and a great affordable alternative to the iconic GMT. The Baltic Aquascape GMT is a great micro-brand pick with another more vintage-inspired aesthetic, but at a slightly higher price this time. Coming in several color and bracelet options, this watch gives a similar sense of variety that the GMT Master 2 does, with more of an original design that the Holt has. Of course, you're getting a two-tone bezel that's made of sapphire this time, better finishing and detail, and a quirky, fully engraved World Timer caseback. For the premium, you're getting a higher quality Swiss-based Soprod movement too, and quick-release spring bars for snappy strap changing. When you're thinking about GMT Master 2 alternatives, I'd guess that most enthusiasts would name the Tudor Black Bay 58 GMT. My reasoning for including it might not be what you expect though. Yes, Tudor is the sister brand to Rolex, and the case design and overall aesthetic is directly inspired from the vintage GMT Masters. What you probably haven't heard of though, is the 58 GMT's ability to be modified for different colored bezels. I've been following a company called Steel Reef for a while now, that offers aftermarket bezels in a variety of colorways that introduce a ton of versatility to this watch. This is what moves the 58 GMT from the standard choice to the underrated option. All combined, you're getting the amazing T-Fit adjustable clasp, incredibly similar design aesthetic, and a variety of the color options like the GMT Master 2 has, for a fraction of the price. If you value the pursuit of finding the more unique watches in the industry and deep dive analyses on watch collecting, consider subscribing. The channel is nearly at its first major milestone of 100 subscribers, and I'd love to see it get there soon and for this community to grow. Your support helps me continue making videos like this every week. Thank you. The Omega Aquaterra is a watch I've mentioned several times on this channel for its versatility and huge range of options in different sizes, colors, and dial textures. It sits in the market as one of the best go-anywhere, do-anything watches with great wearability and a classic case design that works in almost any scenario. The Aquaterra is the least expensive icon on this list, but that doesn't mean there aren't a nice range of affordable alternatives if it's still out of your budget. My budget pick here is a relatively new line from Orient, the Stretto Date series, especially the recently released Summer Shades Special Editions. For around only a few $100s, you're getting an incredibly versatile and attractive automatic watch with great dimensions and a similar style to the Aquaterra. These come in a variety of colors, and the newer Special Edition is extremely comparable to the Aquaterra Shades collection with the colorful sunburst dials, case size and shape, and minimalist aesthetic. This is a great affordable option for someone who wants a watch that ticks many of the same boxes that the Aquaterra does. The Trosco Commuter is another great go-anywhere, do-anything watch in a slightly higher price bracket than the Stretto Date. Coming in 34, 36, and 38mm, the Commuter's reserved design and colorways are certainly reminiscent of an Aquaterra or Oyster Perpetual style. This has a similar amount of variety of options as well, with 3 different sizes and date or no date options. The best upgrade you'll see here is a significantly higher quality bracelet with solid end links, a 6-setting micro adjustment clasp, and quick release spring bars. The movement is yet another standard Miyota, but despite that, this is still a reasonable value proposition for the finishing and features you're getting here. Moving into the luxury segment, the Tag Heuer Carrera is a watch that's iconic in its own right, and often overlooked because of the Carrera Glass Box collection. This version of the Carrera is a bit more affordable, and certainly shares a ton of the same design language with the Aquaterra. This has a great sunburst style in a variety of colors, and finishing a step above the previous options, most notably on the case, lugs, and movement. The case shape comes in a plethora of sizes as well, with beveled lugs that are quite comparable to the distinct Omega Lyre lugs. These even have a unique quick length changing system that you don't often see, especially at this price. It's a shame the Carrera isn't talked about more, because the amount of variety for the quality is quite notable. JLC's Reverso may be the most unique iconic watch on this list, of course with its swiveling case, but also its Art Deco style and rectangular shape. JLC is also a brand most commonly associated with egregious price increases in recent memory, with Reversos increasing nearly 50% in price in a single year. Despite the rotating mechanism being incredibly uncommon, there are actually several models that serve as a great alternative at a few price brackets. The first of these is the Rotary Revelation. Rotary is a brand with a storied history that has succumbed to making almost exclusively homage watches these days. But back in the day, Rotary was a respected name in the Swiss watch industry and made some great vintage pieces. These Revelation Reversos are somewhere in between. These of course are rectangular watches that have a similar reversing mechanism that allows for the case to be flipped. Rotary has made mono and duo faces, as well as quartz and mechanical versions of the Revelation. You're going to find these primarily on eBay, sold as rare vintage watches with various price tags, all of which will still be way more affordable than the JLC, with an extremely similar vibe overall. The Vario Versa is another budget option with a design and mechanism significantly more original than the Rotary. The Versa is an affordable quartz duo-face watch with a reversing mechanism that flips vertically between the two sides, and a crown on the top side of the case. Art Deco is definitely the aesthetic with this too, as all the dial layouts and designs look very similar to vintage JLC Reversos. Both sides use independently set movements, so this functions as a GMT as well. If you're looking for an affordable alternative to the Reverso that isn't a straight ripoff in design, this is probably your best and perhaps only option. Not many know that within a year of JLC's initial release of the Reverso in 1931, Cartier released their own version of the reversible watch, called the Basculante. The mechanisms were fairly difficult to produce at the time, and as a result, the Basculante wasn't produced at scale until the 90s and early 2000s. With this watch, you're getting the name recognition of another one of the industry's most storied brands, and a claim to a similar amount of history as the original Reverso. Again, these are a vertically hinged design with a 12 o'clock crown. This time around though, they have a manual wind movement, and many of the classic Cartier elements are imbued into the aesthetic: blued hands, Roman numeral indices, and a cabochon cut sapphire. The only issue with this watch really is that the price isn't exactly in the affordable alternative range, but more so the lateral alternative. Regardless, the Basculante is an amazing option for someone interested in the Reverso's heritage and design, but from a different prestigious brand. The Rolex Daytona needs no introduction, as it practically defined what it means to be a hype watch as of late, with its unattainable status from the authorized dealers and incredibly high secondary market price. The Rolex Daytona stands out primarily for its dial layout, panda color schemes, and thick tachometer bezel on its iconic Rolex case design. If you're interested in the vintage Daytona aesthetic and are looking for a budget mechanical option, Laurier's Olympia chronograph is one of your best choices. With a dial layout and color scheme similar to the Rolex reference 6262, the Olympia is an amazing alternative at a great price considering its features and specifications. This watch comes with an automatic chronograph movement, micro adjustment clasp, and a headlight crystal to complement the neo-vintage style it brings to the table. The dimensions are rather similar to vintage Daytonas, while the black tachometer bezel matches more with the modern versions. You're not going to be finding an automatic chronograph with a 12-hour totalizer, micro adjust bracelet, and the great proportions and aesthetic this has almost anywhere else at this price. Moving into the low-middle luxury segment, this is where most quality mechanical chronographs start to pop up. My pick for this range is a Longines Conquest chronograph. In contrast to before, the theming for this better aligns with the modern Daytona style, with a thick ceramic tachometer bezel and chunkier dimensions suited more for larger wrists. There are several colors to choose from, although the Panda and Reverse Panda are of course going to be the most fitting for a Daytona alternative. Several movement finishing techniques are at play here, and the overall case and bracelet polishing and brushing is a step up as well. When it comes to the Daytona's history and alternatives, there likely is no brand better suited for this than Zenith. Zenith's El Primero movements were what powered Daytonas for over a decade in the 90s. They seem to be riding off of this fact still, as the Chronomaster Sport certainly shows a strong resemblance for the Daytona's design language. Side by side, these two watches look fairly similar, with comparable bracelet, case, bezel, and dial styles. The tricolor subdials, 430 date window, and of course, the high beat El Primero movement are all classic Zenith quirks that allows it to still keep a unique design as well though. Especially with the 1/10 of a second center seconds hand, a feature that is exceedingly rare in chronographs. Continuing this discussion of Zenith's interconnected history with Rolex, the obscure reference for today is a strange result of that. The Zenith De Luca is what you get when you merge the design languages of the 90s Daytona and Submariner into one watch. What first looks almost like an homage-style ripoff is actually a genuinely high-quality line that Zenith made around the same decade they were providing movements for Rolex. These came in many different variations, but the cathedral-handed Reverse Panda version is the worst offender in this regard. Obviously, the influence from Rolex is unavoidable, and you have to wonder how much is too far for such a highly regarded brand such as Zenith. And to top it all off, I'm unsure why the dive bezel is even necessary on this model. It already comes with a 12-hour totalizer and 30-minute subdial, so another way to time events seems wholly unnecessary. Nevertheless, the De Luca is still a fascinating piece of Zenith's history that had direct influence over their modern lines such as the Chronomaster Sport from earlier in this video. If these interest you at all, they're plentiful on the secondary market and fairly affordable as far as Zeniths go, at least more so than a modern Daytona, Submariner, or even the Chronomaster Sport for that matter. Watch prices have been increasing rapidly in recent years, especially on the most iconic models. Luckily, I believe that we're in a micro-brand and independent watch renaissance, with more great options than ever. Hopefully you've discovered a watch or two today you hadn't seen before. Thank you all for the continued support and feedback on these videos too. I feel that I'm improving with every upload, and I hope to provide valuable insights and content to this community in the future. Let me know in the comments if there are any watches you think I missed, or if you own any of these yourself. I'm interested to hear about any suggestions for future videos or how I can improve. Thank you for taking the time to watch.